Hi, this is going to be my video commentary of a video commentary. Jaclyn Glenn did a video called The Truth About Transgenders. And in the video, she is attacking another video by Hunter. And I'm going to basically try to address what she says in her address of what he said. So it's kind of her she said, he said kind of situation. So I'm going to let her do the talking at first. I'll let her video play, and then I will make my comments in between, and we'll get into the debate. This is a debate now, which is awesome. I love when ideas are debated. So let's start the debate.
Hey guys, so a lot of people have been tweeting me a link to this guy's video who made a horribly bigoted video on transgender people. It was one of those things that was extremely cringy for me to get through and watch, but it's a conversation that I've been seeing happen on a lot of different people's videos, not just this guy's, but I'm going to respond and hopefully it covers a lot of the topics that people have been thinking about lately.
Man, I'm so bored. What can I do that's really disgusting but is socially acceptable for some reason and will get me lots of attention?
I know, you can post a horribly bigoted video on YouTube that makes an entire group of people feel like they're not as good as you. Meanwhile, you can make yourself feel like you're smarter and better than all of them, and get lots of attention.
I got it. Please, call me Jaclyn.
Oh, that sounds too much like Jaclyn. So his bright idea, his light bulb moment was to put a wig on, put some shitty makeup on, and say, hey, look at me, I'm transgender, and offend a bunch of people. Brilliant. Actually, no, it's even worse than that. He's going to make a video where he assumes the role of an expert on all issues regarding transgender rights, and he's...
Okay, so let's stop it there for a sec. So what Hunter did was probably not socially acceptable, but hey, he has every right to do it. And he's making basically a commentary about the craziness that's going on now with all the transgender and intergender and identity politics. Whether I agree with him on it or not, that's another story. But is he being bigoted? I don't necessarily think so. He's obviously, he's stating his opinion. He's creating a case for why he sees the situation with the whole community as being problematic. And I think, sorry, Jaclyn, but I think you're going to be wrong on this one. So yeah, so let's go back to the video, we'll play some more, and we'll see where the whole conversation goes wrong. So let's see.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Hey guys, Hunter Avollone here, and I really hope you're ready for this video, because I know I am. Let's begin. Truth is, being transgender is not normal.
Oh God, I have been making videos on LGBT rights for a long time, for years and years and years, and this is...
Okay, so Hunter stated the fact that being transgender is not normal, and actually he's right. I looked up the science on this one. There's the frequency at which people are considered transgender is around 1.7%. And that's if you use a very broad-based study or assertion by one scientist. And I'll give in my comments below, in my description below, I'll give like all the background for what I'm saying here. Okay, according to the Fausto-Sterling definition, 1.7% of all people fit into this intersex term. Intersex refers to people that are not male or female; they're sort of in between. Now, transgender it's actually different from that, but it's within that group. So, transgender, it's like 0.3% of the population fit into that concept of being transgender. So it's actually a different term. But Jaclyn is going to talk about genetics and about chromosomes. So really you got to understand that there's two things going on here. One is the physiological situation, which is to look at the actual chromosomes, and then there's the more mental, which is side of the equation, which is based on biology a little bit. Well, based on biology a lot actually, but based on biology and social. So influences can, in our upbringing and our biology, work together and can actually lead to transgender situations. And that's why it's actually a higher number, where it's 3%, 0.3%, sorry. Really gotta make sure that's clear, actually. I wanna verify. So 0.3% of people are defined as being transgender, which means that they're a subset of this other category, which is intersexed. So with that said, if you use the Faust definition, you're actually using a broad-based definition. And that definition is actually, if you very strictly define it, where you say intersex is basically somebody that's not male or female. If they don't have the characteristics of being man or woman, then they're intersexed. That, when you actually look at it under those strict guidelines, the percentage of people that are intersexed is 0.018%. Okay, so that's really, really small. I mean, that's really, really small. That's really rare. And when it's that rare, the concept of normal comes in, and abnormal. So anything that fits within a bell curve out of that 95% of the time, which is covering a huge amount of stuff, well, that makes anything that's out of that 95% of the time situation, that is not normal. So even if you use either of the definitions, the definition which it says that 1.7% of the time these people occur, well, that's not normal. That's abnormal. If it's 0.018% of the time, that's extremely abnormal. It makes it very unjustified to say that it's normal. If you look at the concept of transgender, that also fits under the category of not being normal. It's 0.3% of the time. Therefore, again, sorry, it's not normal. So what Hunter said is right. So I'll give the point to Hunter on that one. And Jaclyn, sorry, you're wrong. Okay, let's continue watching her video and see what she says.
One of the arguments that I hear regurgitated all the time, it's not normal, you guys. Man, I'm so irritated. I'm so tired of hearing this said like it's this fact of just brilliance that everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're right, it's not normal. The fuck does being normal mean? Should we just all go by your standards? That's like the bar we should set? Oh, Hunter thinks that this is not normal, and Hunter thinks that this is normal.
Okay, actually I'm gonna just pause her on that because she's going on a bit of a rant. Again, let's not say Hunter's definition of normalcy. Let's actually just use the scientific definition of normalcy. And again, as I said, the concept of normalcy is that it fits within 1.96 standard deviations of the norm. And what that means is that 95% of the time, if something happens, then it's normal. If it doesn't fit within 95% of the time, then it's not normal. So it's not Hunter's definition. It's not Jaclyn's definition. It's the scientific definition. And that's what we should go by here, people. Science. Let's let the rule of science kind of prevail here a bit. So it's not about feelings, it's about reality. And the reality is the condition is not normal. Sorry. I have friends that identify themselves as transgender. I'm not trying to be bigoted here. It's just the reality of the situation. They are not normal for the way they behave. It's whether we accept that behavior or not, that's a totally different conversation, but it is not normal. So let's continue on with her rant and see what she says.
Now we know how to live our lives. Thank you, Hunter. You can say something is uncommon, but just because it doesn't happen often doesn't mean that it's not normal. Normal is just an arbitrary standard that you are setting that no one else honestly could give a shit about. But unfortunately, a lot of people apply this standard of normalcy to people, and if you don't fit into their category of what they think is socially acceptable, they judge you for it. And whenever it comes to people differing on their sexual orientation or the way that they identify, whenever it comes to gender, there are a lot of factors, obviously, that come into play whenever discussing these.
So she reiterates the point of what's accepted and not accepted, and that somehow relates to normalcy. It actually still doesn't. The definition is the definition. Whether we feel that it should be something else or not, that's a totally different story. The point is, normalcy is normalcy. If it fits within that 95%, scientifically, then it's considered normal. If it's outside of that percentage, then it's not normal. And there's useful reasons for why we have this concept of normalcy, because if you start saying, well, everything is normal, it happens in nature, therefore it's normal, then you start to, as later Jaclyn will go into, the whole slippery slope thing of accepting things that we probably shouldn't accept. Like crime. Crime actually happens within nature and happens. Do we accept it? No. Is it normal? No, actually. So crime happens, and it happens actually more frequently than some of this other stuff, but we don't accept it. So what we choose to accept and what is accepted scientifically are two different things. So the concept of normalcy is one way. We have to choose whether or not, as a society, we're going to accept these things. And the debate is still on about what we can accept as a society, what things are considered normal, or not normal, but what things are considered acceptable. And that's really what Jaclyn is debating here, whether or not we should accept things as being normal. Okay, well, let's let her rant a bit more.
These things, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to stick to biological arguments, because whenever it comes to talking about what's normal or natural, there are biological reasons that go behind a lot of these things that I think are important. I made a video actually on this about, I think it was 4 years ago. I hate watching my old videos because a lot of them I used to be religious back then, so I would say, as a Christian, I think this, and this is an example of that. But even whenever I was religious, I wasn't bigoted or closed-minded enough to know that gender is not something that we can define by just X, Y, X, X chromosomes. There are a lot of different things that happen during fetal development that can determine whether or not...
Okay, so now this is where she's getting into intersex. So that's why I said I'd make the distinction between transgender, which is what the video is supposed to be about, and intersex. Intersex is the concept which is going on about right now, which is the biological side of the whole story. And again, it's really rare to be intersex. So what she's going to say is that blah, 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 there's chromosomes where you can be XY, XXY, there's like a whole bunch of different chromosomes, and they're all extremely rare situations. That's the important part here, because it's not normal. So she kind of loses the focus in a way by saying that she's going on about intersex because it's supposed to be a video about transgenders, which again kind of loses the focus. So let's let her do the spiel about that, and I'll comment some more.
Not you are born female or male. There are people out there who have XX chromosomes that are born as a man. There are people out there that are XY that are born as a woman biologically. Something could happen where the mother produces extra testosterone, or she doesn't produce enough testosterone, or the baby has an insensitivity to testosterone. You never know what could happen. So I'm going to play you a clip from that video I made 4 years ago. Don't judge me. And I gave you the example already of extra testosterone being introduced. You can also have XY, which would be a man, and the baby has some kind of insensitivity or
inability to process the testosterone that is there. So then even though they're XY, they're born a full-fledged female.
So that's me about 4 years ago. I was in my first year of med school, I believe, and I filmed this video outside.
Actually, even in the cases where they're X, Y, and then they have that issue where they can't realize certain things, they're still physically a male. It's just that their body's not realizing what they are. The testosterone levels are reduced, and they're exhibiting the same things that we exhibit when we go on hormone therapy. If you go on hormone therapy, you will exhibit female characteristics. However, you're still physiologically a male. So there should be no confusion about that. Being XY, you're actually a male, scientifically speaking. So again, she's wrong on that one. So let's continue on. I'm gonna probably skip because her video is quite long and I don't wanna make my video, because when I comment on it, it becomes even longer. So I don't wanna overwhelm people with a crazily long video because people think that I just ramble too much. So let's play a little bit more of hers, and then I'll let her sort of disintegrate her own arguments on her own later.
I was in the Midwest on a farm in the middle of nowhere. I believe you can hear cows mooing in the background, so not my best video. But at least I wasn't closed-minded, even though I said this.
We say God created man and God created woman. God created a lot of other variations in between too. And in my personal opinion, that's how they were supposed to be.
I went there. God made you that way. I do cringe at some of my older videos. And there are a lot of mistakes that I made in that video watching it back, but that was my best attempt at trying to be open-minded and use biological facts to back me up. But I do highly suggest that you seek the advice of trained professionals in this area. I know PZ Myers and I had our falling out years ago, but he is extremely educated in the field of embryology, and I know this because I've seen him debate people using that knowledge, and he's absolutely killed it because some people just do not know how to science. So if you want more details to that topic, I will leave a link to an article that he wrote on the pathways to sex in the description below. One interesting thing that he said was, while testosterone is a signal that regulates male ducts, testosterone must be converted into DHT, the signal that regulates development of the external genitalia. Defects in the enzyme responsible for this conversion can lead to individuals with male internal plumbing, including testes, but female external genitalia. Sex isn't all or nothing, but a whole series of switches. And it gets...
Oh, so yeah, so that was the last thing I really wanted to address in her video. Again, this is the whole concept of whether or not our body actually recognizes the hormones that are being generated by our body. So if we have like an intolerance to testosterone, we'll actually exhibit female characteristics. It's just like when you do hormone therapy, that you will actually exhibit female characteristics. But biologically, you're still a man. It's just the way it is. Sorry that this might step on people's feelings, but it's just the way it is. Do not be triggered by this because triggering is silly. This is just a fact. If you have XY chromosomes, you're a man. If you have XX, you're a girl. And there are rare exceptions in between those, and as I said, they are rare, and doesn't make them normal. It makes them rare, which is abnormal. So I think that's enough of beating up on poor Jaclyn, because I really actually like her videos normally. I just think that this one kind of struck the wrong tone, and there's a lot more to her video that you should really check out and form your own opinions. Don't take my word for it. Listen to what she says. Listen to what Hunter said. Listen to all the videos involved. The point is, having discussion, trying to figure out what is the right thing is what makes us great. So if we just close down people's arguments by saying that they're bigoted or racially motivated or whatever, that is very closed-minded and it kills debate. The point is, let's debate these things and get the truth out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment below. Remember, it's all about discussing stuff. So the point is, I want to hear what you have to say. If you think I'm a total idiot, then fine, I don't mind that. I just want to hear your opinion about why I'm a total idiot. So please give me your feedback below, and I'd love to hear it.